we got on board a ship. As we were on the coast, we noticed that there was line after line after line of army trucks and jeeps and tanks all going along this lane there. And so we guessed they were going to France. So it was only a guess. So we guessed that's where we were going there. So after a while, and it passed, as I say, after about, I think it would be about 2 days, we were told to pack our things and collect our bedroll, etc., and go to a meeting point at the end of the camp, and we got onto lorries. And then they took us to a port. I don't know what port it was just on the south coast. And we got onto a ship. It was, I don't know what kind of, it was a hospital ship, because when we were on it, we slept in the beds that would be used for the patients, because we were on it 2 nights. 2 nights to get us across the channel, because there was aerial fights going on. We had to be watching out for submarines and to be bombed and things like that. So we were below decks the whole time. We were not allowed on deck. So nearly every one of us was seasick. And the bunks were in layers of 3, because it was a hospital ship and we had bringing back patients. So if you were on the top bunk, and I can remember one nurse, she couldn't go to bed at night unless she had a rollers in the hair. So she kept them in a little bag, and she used to put them under a pillow. And she was seasick, and she was seasick all over her curlers. Because we were there 2 days, we were fed there. So we went to what would be a wardroom. If it was a hospital, then they had long tables, etc., where the patients would eat, which is what we ate. I don't know what we ate there, but it would be tinned stuff there. They used to have tinned stew, etc., which was just vegetables, etc. They would heat that up, and we would get that, and we had tea, which we had we all had our own enamel mugs, and they used to come, bring a big urn with tea, and they'd go around and pour into your urn there. And not many of us could eat it because we were no air, because we were with low decks, you went up above, so none of us felt very well. And that went on for two nights we were there. And then we could tell that the ship was slowing down. And it did. And we had to get off. And some of us climbed down rope ladders. They had a boat at the bottom waiting for us, which was going like this. And you had to judge your step, getting off the ladder and getting into the boat. Some of us, had doors nearer the boat than we were, so they'd step out of the ship onto the smaller one, landing craft they called it, that's right. So we came down step ladders there, and they had a soldier at the bottom to catch us because of jumping over, you're jumping over water. And that got us so far. And then they dropped, I don't know what they call a
ramp.
One of those ramps, that's the word. So far. And then we had to wade It couldn't come right up. We had to wade the rest of the way. And then we got onto the sand, there was sand dunes, and we had to walk up the coast, up the sand dunes, and there was lorries waiting at the top to pick us up. And they took us to a field, and the plant is in the field. There was nothing else there, but there was a colonel standing there, and he was in charge of the hospital. And we heard that our hospital had been shipwrecked, bombed. So we didn't have one, and we had to go to the field next door where was another hospital, and we had to stay there until ours came. And ours came. Another one came. They had another hospital ready waiting there. And so we went back into our own field, and while we were there, they were men digging, and they were digging latrines, the hospital, you know, the toilets, etc. And then there was a colonel, and he said, "That's the operating theatre, that's the anaesthetic room, that's the another operating table." And he said where that was. It was just a mark in the field. And he told us where the other was, the medical ward, the surgical ward, the kitchens, etc. And it was all marked out. And then lorries started to come, and they dumped us. They had everything, so the organisation was terrific. They had everything ready for the surgical ward, beds and equipment, and then one for the medical ward, beds and equipment. Then they had the operating theatre. They had lorries and that, with all that equipment, all ready just to be dumped. And the colonel then organised us coming off lorries, dumped off the lorries. You go to that one, you go to that one, and we had to build the tents there. There were orderlies, you know, to put them up, but we had to help, and we had to put the beds up, and the lockers were flat, and you opened them out. We had to do that, and it had the bedside lockers, and it had one shelf where patients could put their whatever they'd got there. And then rolls of blankets came, and you had a blanket on each bed, and we had to make the beds up there. And that was, and then we were operating. I think we were operating next day. We were receiving patients the next day. And that was France.